Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money. Money, money.
You know, I'm just going to get straight into the review, to be honest with you, because this video is way overdue. It just is. So, yeah, the pre-show, which was for the SmackDown Tag Team titles, it was the Bludgeon Brothers against Luke Gallows and Karl Anderson. And I didn't see the match because it's the pre-show match, so I don't really give a shit. But, yeah, Bludgeon Brothers retained the tag team titles. Fine with me, I guess. So the first match on the actual show was Daniel Bryan versus Big Cass in, I guess now, is Big Cass's farewell match. Obviously, we didn't know then at the time, but a few days after this match, Big Cass was released from his WWE contract under some circumstances, and I think the main reason of that would be because of some things involving Carmella. Apparently, he was like being really pushy around her, like trying to stop her from talking to other wrestlers, and I think like Eric Rowan and the Usos stepped in and had to tell Big Cass to fuck off. So yeah, Big Cass is a bit of a dickhead and a bit of a crazy ex-boyfriend. So yeah, honestly, if that's the truth behind what happens, then good riddance to him. Yeah, just fucking leave Carmella alone, for fuck's sake. But the match was really good, actually. I felt like Big Cass did hold his own in this match, and I felt like Daniel Bryan definitely carried him through the majority of this. I mean, Daniel Bryan can put on a good match with just about anybody. Like a fucking broomstick, and he could make a 5-star match out of that. So, yeah, Daniel Bryan won this matchup, and I thought it was a very good opening to Money in the Bank. So after this, we get a match that wasn't so good. Bobby Lashley versus Sami Zayn. Honestly, who gives a shit? Who actually gives a shit about this match? Like, this feud has just been terrible. Like, the build-up for this match was just so poorly written. Like, a Bobby Lashley versus Sami Zayn match on paper should be very exciting, except this match was not exciting at all because the build-up was so bad. Like, that segment with Sami Zayn and Bobby Lashley's sisters is probably going to haunt me for the rest of the year. Like, expect that to be on the top 5 worst shit of 2018. That was just so much cringe. And, like, sharing his Instagram photos and just making him do obstacle courses. Like, so much dumb shit in this feud. And they could have just made it a simple, nice, easy feud. But WWE doesn't like doing that. Well, on the Raw brand anyway. But, yeah, Bobby Lashley won. By the looks of things, he's going to move on to a feud with Roman Reigns, or in a multi-man match to determine the #1 contender for the Universal Champion. However, that might not even happen because apparently Brock Lesnar's going to back out of Extreme Rules, or is going to back out of fucking SummerSlam. Like, honestly, Brock Lesnar as Universal Champion is a fucking joke. I might have to do a whole video just on Brock Lesnar as Universal Champion. But moving on from that shit match, we get a match that was pretty damn decent. It was for the Intercontinental Championship. Seth Rollins defending against Elias. I'm really happy that Elias actually got a shot at the Intercontinental Championship, and I thought these two guys did a very good job gelling with each other inside the ring. But the ending was very interesting. Elias went for like a roll up, and then Seth reversed that roll up into his own and grabbed the tights, adding a bit of insult to injury because Elias did the same thing to Rollins beforehand, and that's how he retained the Intercontinental Championship. If I would have done this review like right after the pay-per-view, I would have said, keep the belt on Rollins. He's a great Intercontinental Champion. Keep this momentum going. But obviously, that's not the case anymore because Dolph Ziggler beat Seth Rollins the Raw after Money in the Bank, which was a very interesting and shocking win for me personally. Like, I knew that they were building up Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre for something big. I thought they were going to go after the Raw Tag Team titles, but Dolph Ziggler's Intercontinental Champion again. I'm not sure if this is going to progress into like the team of McIntyre and Ziggler breaking up, and I'm guessing McIntyre's going to turn face and they feud for the Intercontinental Championship, which is something I could definitely see them doing. And honestly, if they can book it correctly, it could be a very damn good feud and can help Drew McIntyre elevated a bit more on the Raw roster, which if there's one guy that needs like a bit of a push at the moment, like Drew McIntyre, he's got so much potential in a man to be better than he was in 2009 and 2010. I'm very excited to see what he does. But as of right now, the match for the next pay-per-view will most likely be Dolph Ziggler versus Seth Rollins, which is fine by me because their match on Raw was actually quite good. So I feel like a match at Extreme Rules, slap a stipulation on it if you want to, since it is the Extreme Rules pay-per-view, and they could have a really fucking great match, in my opinion. Like, a lot of people have turned their back on Dolph Ziggler, I feel like, and I can definitely see why. He's not the same guy he was in 2011 and 2012 and 2013 when he was arguably at his prime, where everyone just loved Dolph Ziggler. But the constant, we'll build you up, but then we'll forget about you, and then build and forget, which unfortunately Dolph Ziggler has been basically the pattern of his career. He wins a big championship, but then he just gets forgotten about. Like in 2013, where he won the World Heavyweight Championship, and then after he lost it, he didn't do anything for a year, and then afterwards, he won the Intercontinental Championship, and then he didn't do anything after that, and then he got drafted to SmackDown, had a WWE title shot, became Intercontinental Champion, had a great match with The Miz, and great feud with The Miz, actually, and then after that, he doesn't really do much. So that's the pattern with Dolph Ziggler's career. Right now, he's at the good peak of his career, so how long is it going to be until he falls down again? Hopefully, that's not the case this time, but knowing WWE's up and down booking with Dolph Ziggler, I can't guarantee that. So, moving on, we had the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Ember Moon, Lana, Naomi, Natalya, and Sasha Banks. Wow, these 8 women put on a great showing. Like, I can't really remember the spots, the particular spots that took place, but what I know is that these 8 women just went all out. Like, I know a few of the women got thrown onto the ladders, and there was just some brutal spots. There was one that I remember where 2 of the women were on the ladder, and then Sasha Banks did like her knees onto both of them. That was really cool. Like, Lana was super over in this match, which was very surprising to me. Like, the Chicago crowd really dug Lana in this match. Like, they definitely had their favorites. I feel like Becky Lynch was definitely the one everyone wanted to see win, because Charlotte Flair got booed a little bit. Sasha got a reception. Like, Becky Lynch and Ember Moon were the 2 people I think the crowd would have popped the hardest for if they had won, since they were the 2 people that everyone wanted to see win. But Alexa Bliss ended up taking the Women's Money in the Bank contract, which I thought was, fine. Alexa's a very entertaining heel, and, at the time I'm like, oh, I wonder when she's going to cash it in, which would end up seeing later on in the night, but we'll get to that later on in the review. Afterwards, we get to Roman Reigns versus Jinder Mahal. Thankfully, this match didn't end the show. I have not given a single fuck about this feud, because who gives a shit about a Roman Reigns and Jinder Mahal match? Like, arguably the 2 most hated people in the company, not because of how they effectively work as a heel or a face or anything. It's just because no one likes these guys. They're both very dull and very, like, lifeless. Like, there's no connection. The fans have no connection to either of these 2 guys, so the fans aren't really going to give a shit about this. Thankfully, this was smack bang in the middle of the show, right after the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match, so people could, like, have an excuse to go take a piss somewhere, or, watch something else on the WWE Network, catch the replay of NXT TakeOver, or something like that while this match is going on. I will have to say, though, Singh is definitely the most entertaining thing about Jinder Mahal. I love that guy, man. He's just, anytime Roman would come and chase after him, his selling is top notch, man. I have to give it to Singh. But the big dog won this match. No shocker here. Yeah, that's about as descriptive as I can get about this match. That shows you how much I cared about this match. So, afterwards, we get the SmackDown Women's Championship match between Carmella and Asuka. And I thought this match was fine. Mostly, I thought going into this that Asuka was going to win the SmackDown Women's title, or that Carmella would win via some sort of shady finish. And we ended up getting the latter of that in a pretty silly way. We had some person dressed up as Asuka's ring gear, and Asuka was like looking at that person throughout the entire time, wondering who the fuck is that? And they take the mask off to reveal that it was James Ellsworth under the mask, which I was just like, what the fuck? James Ellsworth is back, so that's okay. But as for the whole finish with James Ellsworth being revealed as the person underneath and like that distracting Asuka, costing her to lose, the match was a bit silly to me. Like, I understand Carmella wanting to beat Asuka and retaining the SmackDown Women's title, but I wish they could have done it in a much better way than Asuka standing there for like a full minute in shock that it was James Ellsworth. Like, it's not that shocking, Asuka. I felt like she should have just went over there and just kicked him in the face or something like that. But yeah, the ending was a bit silly in my opinion. But yeah, I think they have a rematch coming up soon at Extreme Rules. But yeah, hopefully that match ends better than this one. We get to just a fantastic last man standing match for the WWE Championship. AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Now, ever since this feud started around Mania season, I've been waiting for the match, the premier match between these two. We've all been waiting for it. We thought we'd see it at WrestleMania, didn't get it. We thought we'd see it at the Greatest Royal Rumble, didn't get it. Thought we'd see it at Backlash, we definitely didn't get it there. Money in the Bank finally was the night where we got the premier match between AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura. This was just absolute brutality. I was worried at first that, is this feud going to be a dud? But no, man. These two guys just put on a great match, man. Like AJ blocking the nut shot, and even like the little things like Shinsuke dancing while taking off the tops of the announce tables was great. You know, he even hit like a King Sasha on the announce table and threw AJ into it. And he just rams his knee into the exposed turnbuckle. That's what Styles did. He missed Nakamura and rammed it into the exposed turnbuckle. So AJ then grabbed the chair and went for like a few chair shots. But then Nakamura hits a nut shot. Just all over the place, man. Like, and oh my god. Like, Nakamura hits a King Sasha, and then Styles gets up. There's like a Styles clash off the stairs onto the concrete on the floor, onto the outside padding. Nakamura gets up. And probably the most brutal spot of the match for me is that AJ Styles, after months of getting low blowed time and time and time again, finally got the nut shot to end all nut shots. He doesn't just low blow him, he kicks him square in the ball bag. Like, Nakamura is not having children. There's like, the possibility of him having children is gone because it was so loud. Like, oh my god. Like, it was such a vicious spot, but it just made it so much better. And I think that was the ending? No, it was the phenomenal forearm through the table, which was the perfect way to end the match, in my opinion. AJ stands up after the 10 count. Nakamura can't get up after 10. AJ Styles retains the WWE Championship. This match was easily the best match on the show, in my opinion. Second best match we'll get to later on, but yeah, like, this awesome stuff. Finally, we got the match that we've all been waiting for, out of AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura. We all knew it was coming eventually. Like, WWE would have been dumb if they just said, you know, like, we understand that you guys had great matches in New Japan Pro Wrestling, but, you know, we just want the storyline build up and blah, 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 and all that stuff. But, you know, if they let them do their thing finally and not have to give in to stupid low blows and stuff like that, like, this is a match of the year candidate for me. I thought this was just fucking fantastic and one of the better last man standing matches we've seen in quite some time. So, yeah. Hats off to both AJ and Nakamura for just a great showing. Where these two move on from here, well, AJ Styles has got a WWE title match against Rusev coming up, and Nakamura is going to face Jeff Hardy for the US title, probably. That is, if he doesn't get bitten by a dog again, because he was meant to face him on SmackDown, the US title, but he couldn't because he got his leg bitten by a dog. Which is pretty unfortunate, but yeah, hopefully he re-heals pretty soon and we get to see him back into the ring. So afterwards we get the huge Raw Women's Championship match between Nia Jax and Ronda Rousey. Can I just say, Ronda continues to impress me every time I see her in the ring, because everyone was nervous. Everyone was like, oh, can Ronda hang one-on-one? And man, she did. Like, the booking for Ronda Rousey's character, to me, has been pretty spot on. Like, Nia went after Ronda straight away in this match, and she even reversed Nia Jax's fireman carry into like a triangle hold, and like she even gets thrown into the barricade at one point. Like, Ronda Rousey's selling was like top notch in this match, but Ronda would eventually get the upper hand again. Like, she judo through Nia Jax. Like, it was crazy. I mean, Nia Jax, she's not exactly a light wrestler. She's one of the bigger women on the roster. So for Nia Jax to get thrown by Ronda Rousey like that is just crazy. Like, even Ronda's like punches in the corner and all that, like, she put Shane McMahon's punches to shame. But then again, I could probably put Shane McMahon's punches to shame. Yeah, so Rousey is getting ready to lock in that armbar, that devastating armbar that basically just snaps your arm in half. But then, Alexa Bliss shows up and hits her in the back of the head with her Money in the Bank contract, with her Money in the Bank briefcase, and just decides to cash in on Nia Jax. She throws out Ronda Rousey, and she goes right after Nia Jax, and it's now a Raw Women's title match between Alexa Bliss and the champion Nia Jax. Obviously, Nia, she's worn out. She's tired from just getting the shit kicked out of her by Ronda Rousey and also dishing it back out at her. But it all ends after Alexa hits the Twisted Bliss and becomes a 3-time Raw Women's Champion. So it was made as an announcement. I think Alexa's going to defend the championship against Nia Jax. She's probably going to retain, and I feel like after that, it's going to be Alexa Bliss, Nia Jax, and Ronda Rousey in a triple threat match at SummerSlam. However, now that Nia Jax is going to have this match with Alexa Bliss, maybe this could be the ending point of their feud, and it just becomes a one-on-one match between Alexa Bliss and Ronda Rousey. If so, Ronda's winning the title, no questions asked. As for the booking of Ronda Rousey, the next night on Raw, Alexa Bliss went to celebrate, rubbing it in people's faces that she won and took out Ronda Rousey and all that. Ronda Rousey was pissed, and you could see it. She has a great face, like a great pissed off face, because it's like, you see her with an angry face, you're like, oh shit, she's gonna kill somebody. You're like, you see so many men, like, on the main roster on Raw, like Finn Balor and Bobby Lashley, all smiling and shit. It's like, can you fucking stop? Be a bit serious. Like, I know Ronda does smile quite a bit, but, you know, when she gets her mean face on, oh man, it's quite a scary sight. And she just went after Alexa Bliss. Like, she even went after Kurt Angle, her tag partner at WrestleMania this year. That's how pissed off she was. She like took Alexa's Money in the Bank briefcase and just beat the shit out of her with it. She even beat up Kurt Angle with the fucking Money in the Bank briefcase. And to top it all off, she puts Alexa Bliss through a table. Like, Ronda Rousey is the shit. Obviously, she's been suspended for 30 days. This is obviously just an excuse to get her off television for a bit and let her come back just in time for the build-up for SummerSlam. So, which is fine by me. It gives her, at least she has an excuse for not being there, unlike someone else in particular. But, yeah, Ronda Rousey, Nia Jax, Alexa Bliss stuff. Great stuff. Great stuff overall. And then we get to the main event. The men's Money in the Bank ladder match between Bobby Roode, Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Rusev, Samoa Joe, The Miz, and a member of the New Day, which ended up being Kofi Kingston, which, you know, fair enough. Kofi it really shines in these matches, so it did make sense for him to be in this match. And right out of the gate, Strowman just gets the Big Show treatment from 2010 and just has a bunch of ladders buried on top of him. There was like a boom drop on the ladder. They catch Kofi's trust fall. When Kofi does that little trust fall thing and he flies onto everyone on the outside. They caught him that time. But then Finn Balor dives over the top rope and just lands on everyone. It was great. And unfortunately for Kevin Owens, oh my god, poor Kevin Owens. After Braun got out of the rubble, and he was like the Hulk. Like, he just got smashed through something, and now he's back as the Hulk, and he's ready to kill people. So, Kevin Owens decides to climb up this big fuck-off ladder. So, Braun Strowman just sees him up there, and you know he's going to push him off. And, like, Kevin Owens looks like he's going to fall off. And so, Braun Strowman, I think, pushes the ladder, or just pushes him off the top of the big fuck-off ladder, and he just crashes through 2 tables and basically dies. He's just dead. I'm like, there was one bit where these guys were holding the ladder, and Braun just runs through it. Like, Braun Strowman is just the best. He just is. And Miz, and so there was a coup de grace off of the ladder onto Bobby Roode, which I thought that was a great spot. And Kofi basically backpacked on top of Braun Strowman to help him up the ladder, but that didn't work out for long because Strowman ended up winning the Money in the Bank ladder match anyway, and now he is Mr. Money in the Bank. Finally, we get a guarantee. This is basically guarantees that Braun Strowman is going to win the Universal Championship, and he's going to beat Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship. That is, if Brock Lesnar wants to get off his ass and actually defend the fucking thing. I am so sick and fucking tired of this Universal Championship shit. Of Brock Lesnar not doing anything and not even bothering to come and defend this championship. Like, fuck you, cunt. Like, I really want Braun Strowman just to demolish Brock. You know what he should do? In the build-up for this, Braun should just say, I want Brock at SummerSlam, and if he doesn't accept, I'm going to take matters into my own hands. I don't care what Braun has to do. If he has to flip over the ring, if he has to go to Brock Lesnar's house, or his ranch, or whatever fucking place he lives at, knock on the door. Sable answers the door and says, hey, who are you here to see? Oh, yeah, I'm just here to see Brock. You know, we've got some title match shit to talk over. I'm like, okay. Sable lets him into the house. Brock's in there. He's sitting on his ass, doing nothing. You know, just wiping. He's just had a big feed, and he's wiping the food off with, like, $100 bills and shit. And Brock's just like, what the fuck are you doing in my house, dude? What the hell are you doing? He just takes Brock Lesnar and just throws him out of the house. He picks up the house and just flips it over and kills Brock Lesnar. That's what I want to see in this build-up between Brock Lesnar and Braun Strowman if that happens. That's a bit far-fetched, but I don't know. I think I've got something going here. But that's how we ended the show. Match of the night, last man standing match, AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura. Go watch that shit. How I'm going to rate this show, I'm feeling a 7.5 on this one. The first half was a bit dull. Although it did have some good moments with Big Cass and Daniel Bryan and the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. The second half I felt like was much stronger, in my opinion. But yeah, this is just going to wrap things up here. Hope you guys have enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like, comment down below your thoughts on the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. And if you want to see more from me, hit that subscribe button. You'll be glad you did. Twitter and Instagram is at JackalmanLaw for anyone. If you want to check me out there, thank you so much for watching, and I'm out in 3, 2, 1.